Hello to you all, welcome to my channel, Clay Formations. If this is your first time here, thanks for stopping by. If you've been here before, welcome back. And if you are a subscriber, thank you. You are awesome, amazing, and very much appreciated. Now, let's get creative. For those of you who have been following my channel, you may recognize this armature right here. This was the original armature for Superfly. When I started to work on it, it came to my mind that the eyes were too far apart and the armature just didn't work. So I made a new one, and when I decided to do Monstro the Whale, I picked this up and said, hey, I could use this. So I did. If you didn't know already, I'm a big Walt Disney fan. I love the movie Pinocchio, and my favorite sequence in the movie is the one with Monstro the Whale. Of course, I wanted to give it my own spin. So he's a little shorter, a little fatter, and but I think his mouth is pretty much the same size. Most of my sculptures have a closed mouth, and the reason for that, it's a lot easier. When you create sculptures with an open mouth, it creates the challenge of strength because you don't want the mouth to fall off or break. So you have to make sure that it's very secure, and I used Epoxy Sculpt to make sure that it would not crack or break. And here I am making the teeth out of Fimo translucent clay, and we'll use these later. I'm not aware of it yet, but I was really excited about making this guy with huge eyes, just to be a little bit different. As I continue the sculpture, I realize that the larger eyes are not going to work. Basically, what he looked like was just a mean fish with a man's face on it. Adding some clay to the inside of the mouth. This is the clay with the red flocking in it to make it look like gums. And now I'm covering up the eyes, as I spoke about before. A little too thin where the glass eyeballs are. As I'm thinning it out here, I realize that, so I have to make a change. Right here and here, it's just a little too thin. So I decided to push the gum line up and smooth it out that way. Less chance of cracking. Well, now we'll take a different approach with smaller eyes. Putting the Carbochon glass eyes in to size them. Please let this work. After painting the back of the Carbochon eyes, we can attach them permanently to the sculpture. And now we'll continue on working. Rough texture of the inside of the mouth and giving him a tongue. Very glamorous work, the tongue. Now we'll go ahead and start adding the teeth that we made earlier. I used to be a dental lab assistant where I made false teeth. And as I was doing this, it brought back a lot of those memories of making false teeth. You have to make sure that the teeth are along the ridge correctly. The size of the teeth have to increase in size from back to front, smaller in the back, larger in the front. It's always easier to pre-make the teeth, that way you can just push it into the clay. Now we can add the teeth to the bottom part of the jaw. And it's here I realized that the gum line is too shallow to embed the teeth, so I have to add more clay to the bottom ridge so I have enough to embed the teeth. There we go. And as you push the teeth in, you can see that the gums make a natural point between the teeth that's called the gingiva. Now that the teeth and the eyes are done, we can start adding the clay to the rest of the armature. Hey, by the way, if you're still here and you like my videos and would like to see more tutorials like this, please consider subscribing. It's free and it helps me grow my channel. Give it a thumbs up, hit the notification bell so you know when new videos are posted. I put out a new video the first Saturday of every month. And if you have any questions about sculpture, please leave it in the comment section below. I'd be more than happy to answer. Creating his blowhole. I decided to give him a little bit of extra armor. That way if a boat crossed his path and he didn't like it, he could just ram him with his armor on the top of his spine. Using the texture stamp and a ball of tin foil to create a texture. And now on to the flippers and the fluke. First I made them without an armature. Found out that that wasn't going to work, so I had to put some metal into it to give it some strength. now we're on to the fluke. This is Sculpey Ultralight here, cutting that out. And then I use the template to make the tin foil to sandwich between the two pieces of ultralight. And then after I bake those, that becomes the structure for the fluke. I realized after I had put the Sculpey over the ultralight that I needed to leave a small flange to embed into the whale's body. Otherwise, it probably would have broken off. You always want to give yourself some kind of a flange or a hard piece of tin foil or ultralight, metal, whatever you need to make sure that you can reinforce parts that stick out of your sculpture. Adding a little stinger to his tail. Now, as old and ancient as I believe Monstro to be, he's going to have some kind of battle scars, so I decided to give him some of those. Fighting boats and giant squid. There he is, ready to bake. After baking, he's ready for paint, so I decided to do the teeth first. And what I'm doing here is adding a stain to his teeth. Maybe he drank too much coffee. And here's my only regret of this sculpture is I made his teeth a bit too dark along the bottom. I wish that I had just kept it the way it was. The first wash, if I would have done it a couple of more times, it would have been a little more natural. Hindsight's 20/20, but it's still okay. Once you get the gloss on there, it'll smooth that out a bit. And that's always one of the biggest challenges of creating sculptures with Sculpey is some parts you can paint over and redo, and other parts you only get one chance. After we've given him a coat of paint and added the battle scars, now what we can do is start to add some highlights, starting with a lighter blue and then going up into a even lighter blue. Always start with your dark colors and work up to light as you dry brush. Alright everybody, that about wraps it up for this edition of Clay Formations as we add the finishing touches to Monstro the Whale. Until next time, I can't tell you enough how much I appreciate you watching. Until next time, much love to you all, and always remember to be creative.